A Boeing 777 weighs over 300,000 kilograms, yet it glides effortlessly through the air at 35,000 feet. Most people blame Bernoulli's principle, but that popular explanation misses the real physics. Today, we are building the exact mathematical model behind flight, one that explains everything from a commercial jet to a soaring albatross. At its core, flight is governed by Sir Isaac Newton's second law of motion. F equals ma. Force equals mass times acceleration. If we break this down into horizontal and vertical components, we get two fundamental differential equations that govern all flight. For horizontal movement, mass times the derivative of horizontal velocity with respect to time equals thrust minus drag. And for vertical movement, mass times the derivative of vertical velocity with respect to time equals lift minus weight. Look at what this tells us. On the horizontal axis, your acceleration depends on thrust pushing you forward minus drag pulling you back. On the vertical axis, your altitude changes based on lift pushing you up minus weight pulling you down. For a plane to cruise smoothly at a constant altitude and speed, acceleration must be zero. That means thrust must equal drag, and lift must equal weight. So where do lift and drag actually come from? Both are aerodynamic forces created as an object pushes through air particles. We calculate them using two key equations. Lift equals 1/2 times rho times horizontal velocity squared times wing surface area times the coefficient of lift. And drag equals 1/2 times rho times horizontal velocity squared times wing surface area times the coefficient of drag. Let us break down the variables. Rho is the air density. Higher altitude means thinner air, which reduces both lift and drag. V sub x is your forward velocity. Notice it is squared. Double your speed, and you quadruple your lift and drag forces. S is the surface area of the wing. And C sub L and C sub D are the coefficients of lift and drag, dimensionless numbers dictated by the shape of the wing and its angle to the air. Now let us solve this system for steady, level flight. Since vertical acceleration is zero, lift must equal weight. Setting 1/2 times rho times velocity squared times surface area times coefficient of lift equal to mass times gravity. If we rearrange this equation to solve for the cruise speed, v0, required to keep an aircraft aloft, we get v0 equals the square root of 2 times mass times gravity divided by rho times surface area times the coefficient of lift. This single equation tells engineers everything. Want to fly a heavier plane? You need to fly faster. Want to land at a lower speed? You need a larger wing surface area or a higher lift coefficient. When these forces are balanced, the trajectory equations of the aircraft become a simple straight line. Horizontal position, x of t, equals cruise velocity v0 times time t. And vertical position, y of t, equals y0, your constant cruise altitude. Now, you might notice that the drag coefficient, c sub d, isn't in this vertical velocity equation. That is because c sub L determines how fast you must move to stay aloft. But c sub d dictates how much engine power you need to maintain that speed. In horizontal flight, thrust equals drag. Higher c sub d means higher resistance, requiring more thrust from the engines to hold your cruise velocity. Can we combine horizontal and vertical motion into a single equation? Absolutely. By using vector notation, we can express the entire flight path of any aircraft in one unified Newton's second law equation. Mass times the derivative of the velocity vector with respect to time equals the thrust vector, plus the lift vector, plus the drag vector, plus the weight vector. Written out in terms of flight parameters, mass times dv vector over dt equals thrust times the velocity unit vector v hat minus 1/2 times rho times speed squared times surface area times c sub d in the v hat direction plus 1/2 times rho times speed squared times surface area times c sub L in the normal unit vector direction n hat plus mass times gravity vector g. Ff we know the initial position and velocity, along with a complete control input history thrust, c sub L, c sub d and atmospheric density profile. We can solve the differential equations of motion to determine the aircraft's position and velocity at any later time. So, how do pilots control these coefficients in real time, and how do c sub L and c sub d shape the actual design of an aircraft? The most direct way a pilot changes c sub L and c sub d in flight is by altering the angle of attack, the pitch of the nose relative to the oncoming air. Tilting the nose up increases C sub L, generating more lift. But there is a catch. A higher angle of attack also increases induced drag, causing C sub D to rise rapidly. To boost lift at low speeds without stalling, planes use high lift devices like flaps and slats. Extending flaps alters the wing's curvature, drastically increasing C sub L for takeoff and landing, while intentionally spiking C sub D to act as an aerodynamic brake. This balance between C sub L and C sub D dictates an airplane's physical design. To maximize efficiency, engineers target a high lift-to-drag ratio, C sub L divided by C sub D. Long, slender wings, like those on gliders or high-altitude spy planes, minimize induced drag, achieving massive efficiency at lower speeds. On the flip side, supersonic fighter jets use short, swept wings to minimize wave drag at high speeds, accepting a lower C sub L in exchange for minimal resistance. What happens when there is no engine? What about a gliding hawk, a soaring sailplane, or a paper airplane thrown across a room? When thrust drops to zero, gravity becomes the engine. The flying object pitches downward at an angle theta, using its potential energy, its altitude, to maintain forward speed. If we solve the force balance along a glide path, the tangent of the glide angle theta equals drag divided by lift, which simplifies directly to the coefficient of drag divided by the coefficient of lift. This gives us the ultimate generalized trajectory equation for any unpowered flying object. Height y as a function of horizontal distance x equals initial height y0 minus x times the quantity, coefficient of drag divided by coefficient of lift. Finally, we can see how to achieve takeoff and landing by adjusting the parameters of an aeroplane. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this mathematical deep dive into flight, hit that like button, subscribe, and drop a comment.